Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of year once again where I go through and I suggest a couple of different options that Bradford City could sign this summer. Players who are currently set to leave their current clubs with their contracts expiring this summer. If you do go on to enjoy today's video, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. 200 likes on today's video will be massively appreciated, and don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. Would you like to sign any of these players? And just because I haven't named a player as well doesn't mean that if we do go on to sign somebody, that would then make it a bad signing. Max Power was not somebody that's on my radar. Now we've brought him in. I think that is a brilliant signing for Bradford City. Let's waste no further time. We've got a fair few different players to get through, different reasons, explanations, all that sort of stuff. So let's get straight into it. We'll get this one out of the way early doors. Then Nahki Wells is obviously out of contract with Bristol City this summer. It has been confirmed that the club are in discussions with Nahki Wells over a new deal. It's very unrealistic, I think, and that's why I'm going to put it in first, just to get it out of the way. Obviously, bringing him back to Bradford City would be an unbelievable bit of business. He is now 34 years of age, but this season the Championship still managed 10 goals and 4 assists in just at 26 starts, over 2,000 minutes played. He would obviously be an absolutely unbelievable signing to return back to Bradford City. Imagine having a front two of Cook and Wells, the two best strikers that I've seen in my lifetime supporting Bradford City. He averaged a goal in the Championship every 207 minutes. I don't need to convince you as to why Nahki Wells signing for Bradford City would be a good signing. Absolutely brilliant player, my favourite ever player growing up as a Bradford City fan. Andy Cook might have overtaken him very recently, but if we could get him back, it'd be absolutely brilliant. I do think, though, it's very unrealistic. Ricardo Santos is currently with Bolton Wanderers, with his contract set to expire this summer. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I feel like Bolton have already put their return list out, and Ricardo Santos has not been offered a new contract by Bolton. Now, there's no hiding from the fact that this season he obviously hasn't quite hit the same standards that he hit previously with Bolton. He's only had one appearance in the league since the middle of January, and that was obviously against Barnsley a couple of weeks ago. Just the 25 league starts for him this season. I'm not sure if he's struggled with injuries, potentially played nearly 2,200 minutes, 1 goal and no assist with an 85% accurate pass rate. 36% of his long balls were accurate. Now, he only contributed to the 4 clean sheets. Defensively, some of his stats aren't amazing. He did, however, average 8.3 clearances per game, but he had 2 errors which led to a shot, 2 further errors which led to a goal, and also committed 2 penalty offences. But he still won 61% of his ground duels and 79% of his aerial duels. That is the best aerial duels percentage win stat I think I've ever seen in any type of video that I've done. That is an absolutely brilliant return. Like I mentioned, this season he hasn't quite hit the heights, but Bolton have always been a team challenging for automatic promotion over the last couple of seasons, and he has been a big part of that. If we can get him in on a 2-year contract to play in the middle of that back three, it'd be a big improvement on Paul Huntington, a massive improvement on Neil Byrne. I think on a free transfer we could do a lot worse. He brings in a wealth of experience as well, and for where we want to be next season, he's obviously not really going to have to move house as well, with us only being about an hour or so away from Bolton. I think this could be a real good signing for Bradford City. Josh Neufville has played largely as a right wing back this season. Over the last couple of matches for AFC Wimbledon, he has operated as a left wing back, scored the winner in AFC Wimbledon's playoff semi-final second leg match against Notts County. This one for me will largely depend on who does win the League 2 playoff final. I've got a Walsall player in here as well, so I think if either club is to be promoted, obviously one of them is going to be, but the club who does get promoted I think will definitely keep hold of their better players. Whoever stays down I think could lose a few of their better out of contract players, and at 25 years of age, Neufville for me would be a real coup, especially going into next season. With his versatility, he can compete with Brad Halliday down at that right hand side, but he can also operate on the left hand side. At the moment, obviously Lewis Richards is out of contract. Apparently he's been accumulating some interest from Championship and the top end of League 1. Teo Adaramola hasn't re-signed, and I don't think Tyreek Wright will be good enough for League 1. So Neufville for me would prove to be a real good signing. Played in all 46 matches that Wimbledon played this season, played over 4,000 minutes as well, so clearly a very robust player. Contributed to 4 goals and also provided a further 4 assists. He has a 33% accurate cross rate. Defensively, pretty solid as well. Nothing in there that really does concern me too much. Nearly a 50% successful dribble rate, and he nearly wins 50% of his ground and aerial duels. Defensively, there might be the odd question mark about him at times, but I think going forward he'll offer something different to what Brad Halliday does, and obviously with Callum Johnson being released, I think we could do a lot worse than pick up Josh Neufville on a free transfer. And speaking of the League Two playoff final, Harry Williams is another potential centre-half option for us. I feel like I wouldn't bring Williams in if you're also going to bring in Ricardo Santos. It's kind of one or the other. There's another centre-half or two which I think will definitely play more in the middle of a back three, but I think it's good for us to have options. I'm not saying we should sign all 13 of these players, but these are just 13 free agents that I think would prove to be decent signings for Bradford City. I think with him being under the age of 24, he would require a compensation package, which is obviously not ideal, but Williams this season has been excellent with Walsall, and at just 22 years of age, still lots of room for him to grow and develop. Has played in the 30 league matches, playing over 2,600 minutes, scored the 3 goals, and statistically, it looks like a pretty solid centre-half. 70% accurate pass rate, with 44% of his long balls being accurate. He contributed to 11 clean sheets, averages 6.5 clearances per game as well, wins 46% of his ground duels and 61% of his aerial duels. Again, I think we could do a lot worse than pick up Harry Williams. He wouldn't be a top target for me, but if you go through a couple of your other options and Walsall stay down in League Two, again, I think we could do a lot worse than picking up Harry Williams. Bit of a no-nonsense type centre-half, I think would prove to be a real good signing for us. Tyrese Forner spent this season on loan with Cal Robinson's Salford City and has since been released by parent club at Derby County. And at 25 years of age, again, I think this will prove to be a real good signing for Bradford City. I would have loved Osama Ashley at Salford. He was set to be out of a contract with the club this summer, but they have triggered his option for a further season, so he might feature in a video later down the line when we talk about potential loan players or players that might require a transfer fee. But Tyrese Forner this season is available on a free transfer, having played in 40 League Two matches, playing just 4 minutes shy of 3,500 this season. 1 goal and 4 assists in there, creating the 4 big chances, averaging 1 key pass per game with a 78% accurate pass rate. Defensively, very solid in there, 1.4 tackles per game, 5.5 balls recovered per game as well, with a 53% successful dribble rate, wins 42% of his ground duels and 46% of his aerial duels. I feel like he could definitely play in that Alex Patterson role alongside a bit more of a defensive-minded midfielder like a Richie Smallwood if he signs a new contract, or a Max Power as well. I feel like we need another option to have in there alongside Alex Patterson. I know we've got Tommy Lee, but Alexander sees him more of a forward-thinking player, and at times last season we're having to drop Anthony Sarsic to play as a holding midfielder, and that's where you really do limit him, because going forward he's absolutely brilliant. As a number 6, number 8, I don't think you get the best out of Sars. So Forner, with the legs, with the energy that he's got in there, again on a free transfer at 25 years of age, I think that'd be a real good signing for us. Another centre-half that Bradford City might be interested in this summer is Bromley defender Deji Elerowe. Now, I see him playing more as a right centre-back rather than in the middle, so it obviously doesn't look like a bit of competition for a Harry Williams or Ricardo Santos, for example. But when I watch Elerowe, he gives me very much Timmy Odesina vibes, but actually at a competent level. He's very quick, very athletic, but also defensively pretty strong as well. And I really like what I've seen in the few games that I've seen of Bromley this season. I feel like Byron Webster's often made quite a lot of mistakes, and Elerowe's been able to use his pace and defensive ability to get him out of making an even worse mistake, really. And Bromley have had a really good first season in the EFL. With him being out of a contract again at 21, he would require a small compensation package, but I think would be a real good signing for Bradford City. Even if it's on, say, a 3-year contract, your first season is a bit more of a backup to somebody like an Aidan Baldwin, and he uses it a bit more as a development season. Maybe even goes back out on loan to Bromley for the full campaign, but I think would prove to be, in the long term, a very, very good signing for Bradford City. And people shouldn't turn their nose up at players who are playing for Bromley, because Bromley have done very well this year, and when I've watched Elerowe, he looks like a real top centre-half. This season has only played these 17 league matches, which I'm a little bit surprised by. It must be to do with injury, because whenever I've watched him, I've personally felt he's played really well, or maybe I've just been a little bit fortunate in that whenever I've decided to watch Bromley, whenever they've been on the telly or whenever they've played against Bradford City, just ironically then he must have had a pretty decent game. But 1 goal and 2 assists for him, creating the 4 big chances. He has a 71% accurate pass rate, 34% of his long balls are accurate, but he kept 7 clean sheets in 17 matches. That is a very, very good return for, with all due respect, a man who's playing for Bromley. The rest of his defensive stats, though, are absolutely outstanding. 1 interception per game, 1.1 tackles per game, 3.2 balls recovered per game, and 6.4 clearances per game as well. At 21 years of age, he does still have the odd mistake in him, but he wins 67% of his ground duels and 61% of his aerial duels. For me personally, I would make Deji Elerowe a real top target for Bradford City this summer. There's a lot of potential there, but even with his current ability, I think he'd be able to do more than a good enough job in League One for his next season, competing with Aidan Baldwin for me personally, I think we should be going all in for Deji Leroy. From one end of the pitch to another, Kasuni Yenge has been released by Championship side Portsmouth, and again at 26 years of age is now coming into his peak prime years. Looking at our striker options for next season, we've got Andy Cook, we've got Callum Kavanagh, then you're looking at Tyler Smith, Harry Ibbotson. I think Ibbotson will definitely go out on loan with his option of a further year being triggered. Tyler Smith will definitely be sold or loaned out once again, and I expect Callum Kavanagh and Andy Cook to be competing next season. We're going to need another striker as a minimum, preferably 2 to come in through the door, and Yenge for me on a free transfer would prove to be a real good signing for Bradford City. This season in the Championship, his minutes have been pretty limited at just 534, just the 4 league starts from 14 appearances in total. He failed to register a goal contribution, but last season in League One, I think we're still going to call the 23-24 campaign last season until the playoffs are officially over. This year didn't really play that much. Last year though in League One proved to be a real handful for Portsmouth. 26 appearances, just the 7 league starts for him, playing just less than 900 minutes, but he scored 9 goals. He averaged a goal every 99 minutes with a 29% goal conversion rate. That is some absolutely incredible numbers. Didn't actually register an assist, but his stats in terms of scoring goals per minute, his conversion rate, absolutely outstanding. Nearly 1 in every 3 shots that he takes ends up in a goal. Clearly knows where the back of the net is. Could probably play as a lone striker as well. He's got that physical presence about him, but could definitely play in a front two as well alongside the Callum Kavanagh. Could probably even play up there with Andy Cook as well, and I think on a free transfer would be a brilliant signing for Bradford City. If rumours are to be believed, Ryan Sweeney is set to sign a contract with Mansfield Town and return and link up at Field Mill once more, but he is out of contract with Burton this summer, and I think has been very good on the whole throughout this season. Available on free transfer again at 28 years of age, so now in his prime or about to come into his prime as well. I think on a 2-year contract would be a very smart signing for Bradford City. We know we need to get in a lot of centre-halves. I've got a fair few centre-half suggestions as well, but I think he would definitely be an improvement on Paul Huntington, would massively be an improvement on Neil Byrne as well. Clearly very tall at 193 centimetres. Played in 42 league matches for Burton this season, playing over 3,700 minutes, where he did register 2 goals and 2 assists. Had an 80% accurate pass rate with 36% of his long balls being accurate. Defensively, absolutely outstanding. 11 clean sheets, 1 interception per game, 1.5 at tackles per game, 2.7 balls recovered per game, and 8.2 clearances per game as well, winning 70% of his ground and aerial duels. For me, would be a brilliant signing for Bradford City, but it does look likely he'll be joining Mansfield Town. Stockport County have got a number of absolutely outstanding free agents available this summer. The likes of Will Collar, Callum Camps, Ibu Torre, even Fraser Horsfall, all players that don't feature on this list. Obviously, I'd love all of them. Not so sure how realistic that they all are, but Macaulay Southam-Hales for me at 29 years of age. His injury record does concern me a little bit, and if it was to be a decision between Nerfville or Southam-Hales, I would personally go with Josh Nerfville. But when Southam-Hales is fit and available, he is a top player, especially for League One. It would probably be a 1-year contract, but I think it is a gamble that you can take because of how robust and available that Brad Halliday is. We saw last season with Callum Johnson, where he obviously missed the first half of the season, then had the odd knock here or there, and I felt like Brad Halliday always being available in that time meant that Johnson being unavailable for that period didn't matter all too much. Obviously, we had Jay Ben in there as well, but I think available on a free transfer now on a 1-year deal would be a real smart pickup for Bradford City. 17 appearances and 14 starts from this season, playing just over 1,200 minutes. 2 goals and 1 assist for him, where he did create the 3 big chances with a 28% accurate cross rate. Defensively, pretty solid on the whole as well, and even his duel stats, winning over 50% of his ground duels and just shy of 50% of his aerial duels. Last season in League 2 for Stockport, again in the minutes that he did play, was very good. He got 7 assists in 21 starts. He clearly is a very good player. It's just about being able to keep him fit and available, and maybe Alexander's going to want players who are a little bit more robust, but sometimes if you want quality, they do come with a little bit of a downside. You look at Anthony Sarsvik, quality player, does often have 1 or 2 quite long-termish injuries throughout the season, so I guess he would be a decent sign if you can keep him fit and available, but I wouldn't make him a top target for me. Another man who's been released by Portsmouth this summer is left-back Colin Bramall. They've also released Tom Lowry, again another player that I probably would take, but I think with us having power, potentially Smallwood as well, we don't really need Tom Lowry. I'm not so sure he suits Alexander's style of play, but on a free transfer, I think he'll be a real good pickup for another League One club. In terms of Colin Bramall, now 29 years of age, has plenty of proven League One pedigree. Obviously joined Portsmouth in January, I think, from Rotherham United, and didn't play all too much. 12 appearances, 4 starts, just shy of 500 minutes played. In that sort of time, you can't really delve too much into him. But this season in League One for Rotherham, 16 appearances and 5 starts, just less than 800 minutes played. Again, you can't really look into that all too much. Then we go back to last season in the Championship with Rotherham United, where he played in 36 matches, 33 of them being starts, just playing less than 3,000 minutes. 1 goal and 3 assists in there for him. Again, we got to remember this is the division above the one that we are now, going into 4 big chances created. Defensively, his stats aren't awful. 1.1 tackles per game, 4.3 balls recovered per game, and 1.7 clearances per game as well, with a 50% successful dribble rate. Wins just less than 50% with 46% of his ground duels, and wins nearly 60% with 56% of his aerial duels being won as well. Hopefully that did make a little bit of sense. But Cohen Bramall has proven pedigree at this level, and I feel like would be a real smart pickup on a 2-year contract. Again, hopefully Lewis Richards does sign a new deal, but if he does move on to the Championship or somewhere else in League One, Cohen Bramall for me would be a real smart pickup for Bradford City. Even if Teo Adaramola does come in, I think at that point we might not need Bramall. If Adaramola re-signs and Lewis Richards signs a new deal, then you're looking at 3 left wing backs. Bramall would be a 4th, so wouldn't be a top priority for me, but an option to have if some of our other targets don't re-sign with us. Dylan Markande for me has to be a massive priority for Bradford City this summer. Out of a contract with Blackburn, I do believe, at this campaign. Obviously spent the first half of the season on loan with Chesterfield, then moved to Leyton Orient in January, and there's a possibility he could play a part in a promotion-winning season for Leyton Orient. He nearly played his part in Chesterfield. Obviously, they got to the League 2 playoff semi-finals. Orient have got to the League 1 playoff final as well, and at 23 years of age, will be a brilliant signing for Bradford City. In League 1 this season, 16 appearances, 13 starts, just less than 900 minutes played, 3 goals and 1 assist for him in League 2. In the first half of this season, 22 matches played, 22 starts, 1,807 minutes played, 6 goals and 3 assists. There is clearly a very talented player in Dylan Markande. He was one of the best wingers in the division when he was in it in League 2 this season, and obviously has gone to League 1 and struggled a little bit for minutes at times, but for me personally would be an absolutely brilliant pickup for Bradford City on a free transfer to play in that right number 10 position, compete with the likes of Anthony Sarcevic, George Lapsley, Tommy Lee. You got Bobby Poynton, Clark Adore in there as well. For me, Markande should be a top priority for Bradford City. He can traditionally play his best football as a winger, but I think he can certainly drift out into them positions, and maybe seeing Markande and Nerfil link up down that right hand side, that certainly does excite me very much, and I think would be a real smart pickup on a free transfer. Again, at 23 would require a compensation package, but would be a brilliant pickup for us. Connor Masterson for me is a player that I've rated very highly over the last couple of years, and he wouldn't be a top priority, but if we're looking at options going into next season, you think the likes of Paul Huntington, very good around the dressing room, but is he going to be good enough to play regularly in League 1? I wouldn't say so. So I don't think he will be offered a new contract. Neil Byrne, I think he's a 6 out of 10 League 2 centre-half. I think it'd be best for all parties, really, for him to move on this summer, because he's not going to play regularly next season. I think Connor Masterson, at 26 years of age, could come in and out of the side as an option when you need him. So we could certainly do a lot worse picking him up on a free transfer. He wouldn't be a top priority for me, but it's another option to have, because I do think he is a very solid centre-half. You look at Gillingham's win/draw percentage when he's in and out of the side, and they're clearly a much better team when he is in there. Definitely a much player than the likes of Max Amer. I do think he's ready to make that step up now into League 1. 24 appearances for him this season, 24 league starts as well, playing just shy of 2,100 minutes. 1 goal, which was obviously against Bradford City, and a further 2 assists as well. 77% accurate pass rate, and 46% of his long balls were accurate as well. He kept the 7 clean sheets, averaged 2.6 balls recovered per game, and 6.9 clearances per game as well. He wins 48% of his ground duels and 61% of his aerial duels. Again, out of all the centre-halves that I've suggested, he would be the least in terms of my priority. I'd much rather go for a Ricardo Santos, for example, or a Deji Alerawe. But as an option, if there's not really much else available, if other players are demanding too much money, Masterson for me would be a smart pickup for Bradford City, just to play a bit part role next season. But on a 2-year contract, who knows what could happen. And the final free agent suggestion for me coming up in today's video is none other than left back at Denver Hume. Out of a deal with Grimsby Town this summer, I think definitely will move on to League 1. It'll be very interesting to see where he does end up. Similar to what I was saying about Cohen Bramall, we don't necessarily need a left wing back if Adaramola and Richards do re-sign, but if they don't, we need options. And at 28 years years of age. He's going to bring the experience. He's played for some big clubs as well, the likes of Portsmouth and Sunderland, so playing at Valley Parade is not going to be an issue for him. Probably won't have to relocate as well. I don't think Grimsby's too far away from Bradford, but this season played in 45 matches, 43 of them being starts, playing exactly 3,750 minutes. Did fail to score a goal, but did register 12 assists this season, creating 18 big chances from left back, averaged 2.1 key passes per game with a 32% accurate cross rate. Defensively, pretty solid on the whole as well. There is a few question marks about him, but playing in a back three as a left wing back, I don't think we need to worry all too much. This season did keep the 10 clean sheets, averaged 1.7 tackles per game, 3.7 balls recovered per game, and 2.4 clearances per game as well, with a 61% successful dribble rate, winning 62% of his ground duels. Only 38% of his aerial duels does concern me a little bit, but if we've got Kieran Kelly playing on the left of that back three, or maybe another new signing as well, I don't think we need to worry about that all too much. For me personally, again, not a top priority for Bradford City this summer, but a left back who's got 12 assists, creating 18 big chances and averaging over 2 key passes per game. He's certainly someone that we do need to be having a look at if the likes of Richards does move on and Adaramola do re-sign. If we get Richards and Adaramola here for next season, then Bramwell and Hume, we obviously don't need to bother with them. Well, there we have it then. There are 13 free agents I personally believe Bradford City should be looking at trying to sign at this summer. Different players have different reasons and different rankings in terms of priority, so let me know down below if you would want Bradford City to sign them, or if you don't support Bradford City, would you want your club to try and sign any of them players? Is there any further players that I have missed out on as well? And let me know down below if you want to see me do this for loan players and players who are still under contract at their football club. Again, I've suggested 13. I know the title says we must sign them. We don't must sign all of them. We maybe got to sign 3 of them as a top priority. The other ones are more options. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. 200 likes, as I mentioned at the start of today's video, will be massively appreciated. And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you very soon for another one.